Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's stepmother, who demands OP asks her bio mom to give money to OP's half-brother because she's well off and helped OP. Listen to the story to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 25 female, was born when my dad and Kayla were broken up. They already had Tom, 30 male. My bio mom Sarah and my dad hooked up once, and despite using protection, she got pregnant. Sarah was financially dependent on her parents. She wanted to get an A but couldn't. She was young and never wanted children, but my dad and paternal grandparents were ready to raise me. Sarah had me and signed her parental rights away. Kayla and Tom got back together when I was 2 and got married. They went on to have Ryan when I was 7. We weren't poor, but we also didn't have much to spare. Kayla ignored me most of the times. When I turned 16, I was curious about Sarah. My dad never said anything bad about her. I reached out to Sarah, and it went great. She admitted that she never wanted to be a mother. Given her own issues with her own parents and her battle with anxiety and depression, she thought she would never really be a mom. We agreed to have a relationship, but not that of a mother and daughter. But she could be that cool aunt. When I turned 18, I got accepted into an Ivy League college, but my dad couldn't afford it. When Sarah found out about this, she offered to pay. My father was over the moon. 1 year ago, my fiancé started his own business. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but Sarah went on to open her own business when she was 25, and her now husband and her are filthy rich. When she heard about fiancé trying, she was ready to invest in it since she knew how difficult it was to start a business by oneself. Now, Ryan just graduated high school. He obviously has to take out loans. Tom and I are also helping a little. Now, Kayla came to me and asked me to ask Sarah for the money because she obviously has a lot and no other kids. She said that since Sarah paid for my college and invested in my fiancé's business, she could definitely help Ryan. I immediately refused. Now, I love Ryan a lot, but I couldn't ask Sarah to do that. She has always been kind and generous, but I don't think I can take advantage of her in that way. Now Kayla is worked up and calling me continuously, telling me that I'm abandoning them in their time of need. She says that I am jealous and cannot be happy for her sons. My dad doesn't know anything yet because I don't want to stress him out. His health is already not a good condition. I'm very confused. So am I the a-hole for refusing to ask Sarah for the money? Sarah's money isn't OP's money, so OP can't decide how to spend it or on who to spend it. OP's stepmother is being unrealistic here. Ryan is nothing and nobody to Sarah. Kayla seems to be under the mistaken impression that Sarah's handing out money to anyone who asks, and it doesn't work like that. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Friend Lily says, "Not the a-hole. You're absolutely right. Sarah is generous to you, her bio child. She has no obligation to give money to your dad's other kids and owes even less to Kayla. I would block Kayla and tell your dad pronto. Do not let Kayla continue to emotionally manipulate you and allow him to stay in the dark about this. Quite frankly, he shouldn't have allowed her to ignore you and treat you badly throughout your childhood either. He can at least step up now." DLC Matroni says, "So your stepmom wants your bio mom to pay for stepmom's kid?" Who in their right mind would ask such a thing? Absolutely not. She can ask herself if that's the route she wants to go. Only a-hole in this scenario is stepmom Kayla. She seems to be the jealous one. Shame on her for even trying to put you in that position. Your dad should absolutely know what is going on, too. Don't let her intrude on your relationship with Sarah. It's none of her business what she does to help you. So keep it all to yourself moving forward. Good luck. Edit. I would also block this woman from calling or texting you. International Fee 255 says, "Not the a-hole. Sarah's money isn't your money, so you can't decide how to spend it or on who to spend it. Your stepmother is being unrealistic here. Ryan is nothing and nobody to Sarah. She helped you and your fiancé because you mean something, to get even if she doesn't want to take on the role of mother to you. If you ask for money, instead of her offering it like she did in the past, you will likely ruin your relationship. Tell your stepmother if she keeps asking you to bother Sarah, you will stop contributing money to Ryan. Stepmother is being greedy, and she's jealous you got a leg up, but that's a problem she needs to deal with." I've been playing lottery since I turned 18. It's a problem. I don't spend more than $40 a week, but still. It's a lot of money, and I'm fully aware that I have a gambling problem. I always had it in my head that I would stop once I hit it big. Stupid ideology, I know. I've never won more than like $400. Despite this, I've always made sure that everything else is taken care of first, and if I'm low on cash, I don't do lottery. I'm not entirely dumb about it. So last week I went and spent my usual $40 on lottery, and to my surprise, I ducking hit it, guys. Not the big one, but I won $56,000 and some change. That's enough to pay off both vehicles and the remainder of the loan on my house. That's truly what I wanted it for, so I can't even tell you the amount of emotion that ran through me. And yes, I did the math. I keep a tally sheet to see if I actually truly won anything because of how much I've spent over the years, and I easily surpassed $45,000 that I banked off this. The thing is, I told my long-term boyfriend to keep his mouth zipped about it. I didn't want anyone knowing, because we all know how it goes when someone you know hits it big. All of a sudden, people turn entitled and do the whole remember that one time that I loaned you money and want free handouts. His family is huge on this. They've never done anything for me. So, quite frankly, I didn't want them knowing at all. I didn't tell anyone. Told him not to tell. He said he wouldn't. I don't even physically have the money yet. Well, we go to a family gathering at his family's house. He has a few too many and starts talking about how we are getting married, engaged prior to winning, and that the wedding was going to be huge because I won the lottery, and even went on to say that he was going to help everyone out who needed help. Like, what? Before I could even object, he's telling his sister he will pay off her taxes. Tells his mom, who I actually don't mind helping because she's like the light of my life, that he would pay off her mortgage, etc. That would be over $30,000 gone, for the record. We all know lottery is taxed like hell, so who even knows how much I will actually get? I asked him to stop, confronted him on blabbing, and he says, "Why wouldn't you want to pay it forward? That's so selfish." I lost it at that moment. Said something like, "Oh, so now the entire family who hasn't helped me once when I was down and out can live off of what I've been aiming for?" And took off. Keep in mind my boyfriend has severe depression and usually can't work unless it's under the table with like 2 other people because he clams up and cracks. So I flipped and left anyways. And now I've been called out by his family for demeaning him when all he wanted to do was help his family. Am I the a-hole? Well, I don't think OP is in the wrong here. OP's finances are no one else's business. He wanted to brag to everyone how much money he came into and offer OP's money to everyone else. And to people who haven't helped OP once. If he wants to help his entire family tree, OP should tell him to get the money to do so himself. OP needs to secure her account and her money, ensure he doesn't have access to the money. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Penny Whistles Moon Pie says, "Not the a-hole. No marriage to the future to this one, I hope. So easy to pay it forward when someone else is footing the bill." I'm Just Lurking Here 244 says, "Not the a-hole. Run. And take your money with you, and try to stop gambling. Hugs." Jeepers Creeper 74 says, "If you spent $40 a week for the past 11 years, then you've spent roughly $23,000 on lottery tickets. What are your after-tax winnings?" Not the a-hole. $56,000 is not $56 million, but your boyfriend doesn't seem to get that. This is not his money or his family's to spend. You need to put it towards paying off your own debt as you already outlined. Why should his mother or any of them live debt-free while you are still making payments? My 25 female sister Julia, 28 female, was overweight growing up, while the rest of us, 5 girls, no brothers, were always petite. No one in our family ever treated her badly for her weight, though my mom did try to help her diet several times throughout our childhood for purely health reasons. She was hospitalized for her eating disorder for the first time when she was 18. And she's been in and out of treatment facilities since then. She's been recovered several times over the years, but it's never been permanent. Pre-virus, Julia seemed to be on a recovery kick again. She looked healthy, seemed to be eating normally, and even asked if I wanted some of her old smaller clothes she was giving away. She has some nice stuff from when she was thinner. As I mentioned, the rest of us are pretty petite. I was hopeful she could keep it together and felt okay about asking her to be a bridesmaid at that point. That was the last time I saw her though. February 2020, until I saw her Friday for Christmas. Julia has gained a lot of weight in that time, probably 20 pounds, which is a lot because she's short. This is a huge red flag to me because prior relapses have been preceded by weight gain, which seems to trigger another relapse. So the way I see it, there are 2 possibilities from here. The first is that she relapses and loses all the weight, in which case she might not even show up for the wedding. She's missed big family events because of being in residential treatment before. Or maybe even worse, she'll continue to gain weight, in which case things like dress fittings could become a nightmare for her body image. In either scenario, I think it makes more sense for her to not be a bridesmaid. That way, she can wear whatever she wants, be skinny or fat, show up or not, and it won't affect the day as a whole. So I texted her after Christmas to ask if she was doing okay. Sure enough, she admitted she'd been having body image issues since gaining weight during lockdown. I kindly asked her to step down from being a bridesmaid, explaining that it was for her own good, and I was only doing this because I cared about her. She seemed upset, but agreed to step down. Well, now our dad is furious with me, saying Julia is heartbroken. She, of course, hasn't brought anything to me directly. That's how she always is. My mom and sisters are all on my side here, and agree Julia not being a bridesmaid is what's best for everyone. Julia has always been my dad's favorite, so I wasn't that worried about being in the wrong here, until my fiancé said I was wrong, and basically called me an a-hole for even bringing up her weight with her. Julia, for her part, now refuses to even engage the conversation, and is upset with my dad of all people for talking to me about her private feelings. So I figured I'd ask here, am I the a-hole? OP told her she couldn't be a part of OP's special day because of the one thing she struggles with the most. The one thing that she's probably insecure about above all else. She probably feels like crap right now and is trying not to relapse. Being a part of OP's wedding would have been encouragement for her. If her weight is the only reason OP is asking her to step down, it's kind of a kick in the teeth. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Maximum System says, "You're the a-hole. If you were concerned for her, you would have just told her that you wouldn't be offended if she preferred to step down, if being in the wedding was creating any extra pressure. You could have told her you want her there and would support her in whatever that means. But you wanted her out of the wedding so it doesn't create a headache for you if she relapses or can't maintain a size. It was not motivated by her or her health. Why didn't you anticipate this before asking her? This was perhaps the worst possible outcome. Now she has a visible sign of her failure tied to her weight and health, which has led to her exclusion from her sisters even before a relapse. Very insensitive and risky choice on your part." Eternity24601 says, "You're the a-hole, and a hypocrite too. You didn't have the respect for her to communicate beyond a text, asking her to drop out of your wedding party. A conversation which really should have been done in person if you actually care. And now you're getting mad at her for not wanting to talk to you? Not only that, but your objections aren't because of her health. You're bothered by the chance that she could inconvenience you by checking into a rehab facility or by needing her dress refitted. Not a single one of you cares enough about your sister to actually talk to her like the adult she is. Y'all are just trying to make decisions for her, like she's still 5 years old." Gave 2 cents, now broke says, "You're the a-hole. Petite self needs to grow up." My mom died when I, 27 female, was 8. My younger brother was 5 at the time. Dad dedicated time to us over the next 6 years and did not date or anything. But when I was 14, he sat my brother and me down and explained to us that he was interested in dating again, and it would not replace our mom, but he felt ready to find someone to share his life with again. We both had conflicting emotions. We told him this, but we also told him we wanted him to be happy. The 3 of us went to therapy together, and the therapist explained to him that conflicting emotions would play a role in that kind of thing going forward. She said our love for him would always mean we wanted his happiness, but that our love for our mom would mean we wouldn't share the same level of joy as him. Dad asked some questions about that, and she said that he should expect us to be respectful, and it would be nice if we could like her, but anything more would be down to chance. She told him to not take our relationship with a future partner of his as a reflection of our relationship with him or his parenting of us. She told us to keep an open mind and suggested that if we struggle seeing him with someone else, or if he were to get married and the wedding was tough, to consider journaling or finding a trusted someone to speak to who wasn't our dad. She said we could keep the lines of communication open with him and confide in him, but if it was an ongoing weirdness, that maybe someone else would be a better confidant. Dad did meet someone, and he has been married to Beth for the last 11 years. Beth was a widowed mom and had lost her husband some years prior. But unlike my dad, Beth's first marriage was toxic and unhealthy, and this is where I think some of the drama has come into play. When I moved out, I asked Dad for some copies of his and Mom's wedding photos, and he gave them to me gladly. I have a couple of them on display in my home, and others I keep in a little treasure album I put together. Beth and Beth's youngest child are upset that I display photos of my parents' wedding and not her and my dad's wedding. She spoke to me about it several months ago and told me it would really make her and the kids feel accepted if I were to display one from each wedding instead of just my parents' wedding. I explained to her that I enjoyed seeing my parents' wedding photos, and I did not do it to hurt her or any of her kids, but the photos would remain. She escalated the dispute the other week when she complained to my dad about it for the first time. He called and asked me if she had said something to me. I said yes. He apologized, and she told me that all I had to do was swap out one of my parents' wedding photos for one from her wedding to dad. She told me I didn't support my dad, and neither did my brother, since we showed no fondness for their wedding. She accused me of hating them, and she told me that this was our happily ever after, and I was stomping all over that. Am I the a-hole? Let's get this party on, says. Not the a-hole. Get your dad to tell her to stop. You turned up at their wedding. That's respect. You didn't cause a scene at their house wedding. That's respect. You don't have to have photos of their wedding. Is she 13? Is it a competition? Lucalia says, not the a-hole. Have you reported all these red flags to your dad? It feels she's trying to alienate you two siblings with him. You and your brother obviously still care about your dad, and she's trying to turn this into something about you guys not supporting him. Desert Song La La says, not the a-hole. She is the one with the hang-ups. A happy family is one that respects one another, finds time to love, and be kind, especially around difficult topics, and does not ask someone to change surrounding the death of their mother. It's a picture of your parents, for goodness sake. Your mom will not be erased no matter what she says or how she manipulates you all to make her feel better. She sounds controlling and self-centered to the core. Sorry you're experiencing this. You are not an a-hole, not even in the slightest. Her magical image of what represents a family are manipulated actions and rules.